Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for a program preview for the Master of Science in Innovation and Venture Development. MSIPD is a brand new one-year master's program starting this fall 2020 at Arizona State University through a partnership between the Ira A. Fulton Schools of Engineering, the W.P. Carey School of Business, and the Herberger Institute for Design and the Arts. My name is Jackie. I am the graduate coordinator for the MSIPD program. I work with students in this program throughout the admissions process, as well as an academic advisor for students admitted to the program. I just want to start quickly by going over a brief agenda for today's webinar. We will be having some introductions shortly. Cheryl Heller will give you a bit of an introduction to the program. We'll then be hearing from two of our MSIPD faculty, Rhett Trujillo and Shirley-Ann Behravesh, and they'll be talking about transdisciplinary learning today. I'll then have a few moments to talk with you about some of the admission requirements and what you can expect out of the application process for this program. I'll also be giving you some information about tuition and financial aid. We then should have a few moments toward the end for a Q&A. So if at any point throughout this presentation you have any questions about anything that's being discussed, please feel free to leave your questions in the Q&A section of the webinar, and we will get to all of those towards the end. So to start us off, I'm going to turn things over to our program director for the MSIPD program, Cheryl Heller.
Thanks, Jackie, and welcome everyone. This is another one in our series of information sessions. And we are really excited about this program because it offers a new kind of education that's intended to prepare people to lead change. And it does that through an integrated curriculum from the three most important components of successful new initiatives, which are business, engineering, and design. The MSIPD program is a result of many years of planning and observation of what people really need to succeed, but also what they need to develop new ways to live and to work together for the long term. When we first decided to launch this program, we were living in a different world, which is not that long ago, but it feels like ages ago. But we have come to see that there's a greater need than ever for a program that teaches people how to identify issues and develop solutions and lead the facilitation of them to ideas that actually make sense in the uncharted waters that we're living in. I have had the pleasure of interviewing a number of applicants for the program now, and the cohort is really exciting. We have room for more, so we're not full. But the number of people that we speak to who say, you made this program just for me, is remarkable. And what it tells us is that the people who are coming together to be in this program are really committed to being leaders of change in the future. So if you are broadly curious and creative and passionate about creating your own opportunities, we would love you to apply. It is my pleasure to turn this over to Shirley-Ann and Rhett, two of our founding faculty and people with whom I've had the pleasure of teaching for the last year. And I'm excited for you to meet them and hear from them.
Thank you, Cheryl. So we are now going to be hearing from Mr. Trujillo and Dr. Behravesh. Just to introduce them briefly, Mr. Trujillo graduated from Kansas State University in Manhattan, Kansas, with a degree in agronomy. Upon graduation, he worked for Deere & Company, known by the brand name John Deere, in Kansas, Iowa, and Nebraska. While working for John Deere for 8 years, he held 3 different positions, all working with dealer networks that distributed John Deere's agricultural and consumer products. He focused on improving the customer experience and product satisfaction, dealer profitability, and product training. After leaving Deere & Company, Mr. Trujillo attended Arizona State University, where he earned his master's degree in business administration with a focus on marketing and management. Upon graduation, he went to work for Henkel Consumer Goods in Scottsdale, Arizona, in brand management. He worked as an associate brand manager on Renuzit air fresheners, and then as an associate brand manager for innovation in the home care division, focusing on soft scrub liquid cleanser, combat insecticide, and Renuzit air fresheners. Currently, Mr. Trujillo is a lecturer in the Department of Management and Entrepreneurship at the W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University. He primarily teaches undergraduate courses focused on innovation and entrepreneurship. And Shirley-Ann Behravesh is a senior sustainability scientist and a lecturer with the School of Sustainability at ASU. Dr. Behravesh holds degrees in management, finance, manufacturing, engineering, and sustainability. She has extensive project management experience with various sustainability projects, including sustainable technologies, transportation, construction, food, and business. Her research focuses on understanding sustainable organizations, their culture, leadership, and their goals. She also works and is interested in the field of chain sustainability, social entrepreneurship, and the design of sustainable products, including biomimicry. Dr. Behravesh works with nonprofit organizations in the field of sustainable procurement, including Sustainable Purchase Leadership Council and the American Sustainable Business Council. So with all that said, I will now turn things over to Mr. Trujillo and Dr. Behravesh.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rhett, so thank you for joining us today. Shirley-Ann and I wanted to talk with you about the transdisciplinary learning that's going to occur in the MSI PD program. So I have taught at ASU for the past 8 years, and one of the undergraduate programs I've taught in is called Innovation Space. I've been in that program for the last 4 years. And if you look across the landscape of ASU, we're one of the largest institutions of higher education in the U.S. On our campuses, we have over 75,000 students and 350 plus degrees in the undergraduate world. But we have very, very few transdisciplinary learning opportunities for students. So this is unique, even amongst the undergraduate world with lots of students in a huge university like ASU. There's very few of these opportunities, and we're really excited to talk to you today about what makes this opportunity unique and some of the benefits that we see students achieve and learn as they go through the process. And we really think it's unique. And we just wanted to share some of those stories and some of those particular learnings that we foresee in your future. So Shirley-Ann.
Yes, thanks, Rhett. Thanks, Jackie, for the introduction. If you listen closely, I don't fall squarely in the business and engineering or design field, and I come from the field of sustainability, which is the first of its kind in the nation at ASU. And sustainability for me brought together all of those very interdisciplinary places that I came from and kind of weave this connection, right? So that connection between design, engineering, and business came forward or was more recognizable to me through sustainability. And this course, MSI PD, does that same thing, right? We're bringing together those three different disciplines. We're learning from each other, but we're doing it in such a way that we are cognizant not just of those three, but of many other areas that are connected to those three. And this is the power of transdisciplinary learning, and that's what sustainability has taught me. And this is what I'm truly excited about, to see that it's filtering through other departments and other disciplines across ASU and across the US. So excited to talk to you some more about this. Jackie,
Next, Jackie.
go to the next slide.
So the first slide that we wanted to talk to you about today, or the first idea, is this idea of your mindset. So coming into a transdisciplinary learning environment, I think one of the most exciting things is learning from your peers. And so that happens from really from the jump, in far as how we talk about problems, how we approach research, how we propose solutions. Not only the like step-by-step process that, say, an engineer would use, or a business student, or somebody who has a background in the arts or design, all of those different viewpoints and those experiences are reflected in how we approach problems and how we learn. And in the verses there on the isolation and competition is, I think in a lot of our very kind of traditional modeled classrooms, a lot of the time the learning happens in isolation. So, you're there, you're hearing from a professor, you're internalizing that information, you're learning it, you're applying it, and then you're submitting some sort of assignment, and that's done, in a lot of ways in isolation. And then the other part of it is competition. So there's a lot of competition amongst the students for either attention or for, who can get the best grade. And it's often at not necessarily the expense of other students, but it's driven in a me first type of mindset. And I think going into a transdisciplinary classroom and in a whole learning environment, you have to shift that mindset. You have to be willing to listen to others, to be a good listener, to ask a lot of good questions, probing questions that lead to more explanation and more understanding. But I think you have an opportunity on how you can learn from others that is just not there in a lot of other programs. And I think, you can definitely push yourself to have that mindset and to open yourself up to those opportunities, because they're going to be there. But it is, of course, kind of up to you on how you develop those and how you engage with that. And the other part of this too, and this is not necessarily learning from your peers, but learning for yourself in terms of, if you have a business background and perhaps you're on a team that has students from other backgrounds, one of the things you may be asked to do is kind of step outside of your comfort zone and maybe become the expert in, or maybe not the expert, but learn more about marketing or supply chain or some other piece of kind of your background. I know my background is business, so everything is kind of framed in that for me. But when I'm on the team and there's a business question, maybe it's not my necessarily area of expertise, but I need to step out and learn and be able to help contribute to my team and move us forward. So I think there's two parts to that. The first part is being able and open to engage with other people and understand how they're going to approach their learning and how they approach problems and discover solutions, but also that mindset of, okay, I want to learn and push myself on, maybe expanding, my knowledge in even different areas within my own field, right? Where I may have some, some understanding of marketing, I may have some understanding of finance, but as kind of the business person in this particular team, maybe I need to do more research and help my team and help my classmates move forward with this idea. So I think that is just a different mindset from kind of a traditional learning environment where information is presented to you and then you internalize it, apply it, and then just regurgitate it. So that was just some thoughts I have here on the peer piece. Shirley-Ann, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think this is more of a systemic issue, a societal, institutional issue where it's easier to learn from people who are like yourselves. It's easier to talk to people who think like you. It's easier to create something where you know all the parameters and you understand the entire context. It's so much easier, and that's how we built our societies. Engineers work with engineers, business people work with business people, and that's how we've worked in the past, centuries. And we've recognized that there's a lot of missed opportunity from working in such a way, right? So we've created a world, we've created structures, we've created all of these institutions without bringing people together, without learning from other disciplines, without talking to each other. And the outcome of that has been so much wrong, or so much missed opportunity, so many impacts that we didn't think about, that we never dared to imagine, so many issues, right? If only we had spoken to each other to begin with. And I think a lot of this course will bring is the opportunity to step out of your space, right? To step away from your constructs, to step away from everything that you've known or how you've thought that the world operates, and step into something that you might be completely uncomfortable with, but take that into consideration with your as you move forward. As I was speaking to Rhett yesterday about this particular topic, we recalled one student from Innovation Space. So Rhett and I both we teach Innovation Space for the past couple of years. And there was one student who came back to me very recently for a reference. And I had a conversation with her about Innovation Space and asked her what she remembers as being the most memorable thing. What did she take from Innovation Space? And Innovation Space is just like MSI PD, but at the undergrad level, you know, they're working to create something for a sponsor. And she said to me that the one thing that she really, really enjoyed about Innovation Space, and she uses on all of her references, is the fact that she, as a sustainability student, was able to talk about the technical details in a drone construction, in bridge construction, in creating business plans, that she was able to do that, right? It's not that, you know, she did this great work in the sustainability report and so on. It's that she was able to learn something that she would never have otherwise. Right, so she learned from her peers, and that's something that we really miss out on. And in the job market, that's something that we need, right? We want to be able to say that we can learn things on the go, that we can do things on the fly. It's no longer required that we all just become experts in our own space. We also need to be able to learn very quickly, to adapt, to take from other spaces and so on. So I think this helps frame that mindset, right? It gives you that ability to be a little bit more fluid and adapt and learn as we go along. So if we go to the next slide, this is very much related to mindset. We're thinking about perspectives, and this is something else that MSI PD brings to the table, right? So not just bringing different disciplines together, we're bringing people who are at different points in their lives, from different walks of life, with not just a construct of the academic world, but life in general, right? So we are excited at the current applicants for this program are so diverse. Right? They come from so many different places. We have people who are very creative, very artistic, people who are very focused and, you know, engineering based. There are people who are very structured and unstructured, and we have such a messy set of people. It's very exciting what's going to happen when we come together, because what else is going to take place but learning? If you have someone that you've never been around, if you have a kind of person that you've never dealt with, you know, conflict is going to occur. That's something that's natural, and you know, it's something we should expect. But at the same time, you're going to learn so much. You're going to learn so much, because never before have you been shaken out of your own thinking and your own thoughts of life and your own systems questioned, right? So I think it's just great bringing these different people together, particularly in sustainability. We talk about this a lot. When we're trying to solve societal problems, when we're trying to solve issues related to sustainability, we want to bring people who have these very, very divergent perspectives together. And I like to tell my kids that there's no good or bad in this world. There's no wrong or right. There are people who think differently about things. And the only way we can solve the problems related to our society is if we understand what those different opinions and perspectives are. And so bringing this very diverse group of people together, I think there's a lot of greatness that could come out of it. Anything you want to add, Rhett?
You know, I think the only thing I would contribute here to that is on the perspective piece is, you know, often we see a problem, we come up with a solution, and then we just run as fast as we can towards that solution. And this idea of perspectives is great because it causes us to slow down a little bit, right? And step back and look at things from different people's viewpoints. And oftentimes we may end up in the same ballpark as our original solution, but usually it's a better solution when we've taken, you know, other people's perspectives into account. It provides us with some just interesting, you know, viewpoints on what we could change to make our solution maybe more inclusive or more thorough. So I definitely love this part of the program. Next slide, Jackie. So thinking. So one of the things that I think is very unique in the transdisciplinary piece is, a lot of times, and especially around innovation and in entrepreneurship, we're needing to think more divergently, which to me means that we're coming up with a multitude of possible solutions and choices that we can make. And this actually ties in with what I just said about perspectives. Is usually, from kind of an academic thinking standpoint, a lot of the things we're doing are very linear. We're very used to coming up with the one right solution and running towards that as fast as possible. And in the transdisciplinary setting, when you have all those different viewpoints, those different life experiences, different educational experiences, there's often a natural kind of slowing, if you will, of that process in the beginning on how we're engaging with a problem, how we're interpreting information, and how we're doing research. And what that almost just naturally breeds is this divergent thinking, where instead of just having one solution from one viewpoint, from one mindset, now all of a sudden we're getting lots of different ideas, and now we have more to choose from. We have more pieces that we can plug and play and put together in different combinations. And again, it all comes back to coming up with a better solution, a more thorough solution, one that's going to have a higher likelihood of success. It doesn't necessarily mean more complicated. It just means we're accounting for more things. And so I think from the transdisciplinary environment, you end up with this more divergent thought process because of all of those different people from different walks of life that are pulling you in different directions, where normally you would just run straight ahead.
Yeah, so I'm recognizing that we're running short on time. So I'm going to go quickly through two of the next slides. And it's not necessarily that we're rushing through this, because all of them are so related and so tied to each other that we can't necessarily separate them. I have an attendee behind me. But we're looking at the knowns and thinking about how does typical academic thinking differ from this sort of arrangement, right? And typically we have a lot of knowns, right? Within our discipline, we have these various levers, we understand how things work, and we have a set of capabilities that we can try. We understand the variables that exist, and there's a very finite sort of we have a very finite set of variables to play with. In a project like this, there are several unknowns, and that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, right? There are so many things that we don't know. There are so many things that we don't quite understand how to enable change, and it's very messy. To be frank, it's a very messy situation, particularly in sustainability, where we have a lot of societal elements, a lot of variables that are not controllable, that we can't experiment with. So it creates for a very messy situation. And that ties in with the previous slide of friction as well, right? We put in a group of people together who are from very different backgrounds. We throw in things that we don't know, and it becomes super messy. And the truth is, out of this comes something that is so wonderful and beautiful at the end of the day, that we could not have arrived at it had we not created this borderless situation, right? So friction and knowns come in quite hand in hand. I want to tie in the next slide, and then I'll throw it to you, Rhett. So if you could go to the focus slide, the following one, Jackie. So this one I particularly am excited about, just because we're doing something that hasn't been done in this sort of program before, right? Typically we have programs that are related to ventures. That's just, we need to come up with an idea, we need to fix a problem and create something that we're going to throw to society and make lots of money, which is great. We want to make money. Nobody wants to, create a society where people are poor. But what we're doing in this course is we're not just focusing on this single dimension of profit. We're focusing on much more. We're focusing on societal issues. We're thinking about how can we make life better for people and also minimize our impact on society as well, but the planet as well. So thinking about people, planet, profit, rather than just the single dimension of profit making. And that's one thing I'm truly excited about in this course, because we typically leave that out. And if we're going to create something else and create something else that we're going to throw, another piece of plastic or whatever it is that we're going to create, we need to think about what the impacts of that products will be. So that's definitely a focus that we're going to have in this course, and very excited about it. So Rhett, if you take the next slide.
Yep, take the last one here. So this is our last slide, but just real quickly, and I think this is a great place to end, you know, it's kind of the inspiration for, you know, working in the program and what you're going to be doing. You know, it's all focused on solving a problem versus creating a product. You know, a lot of times we see in kind of corporate America where, oh, we come up with a really cool technology, let's figure out how we can use this. And a lot of times that leads to poor product market fits. And, you know, frustration both from the company and from consumers. But what we're really focused on here is problem solving. So starting with an issue and then working through it as a team, through as a class, as faculty, and helping to create something that's really truly unique in the marketplace that can provide a solution that's really value added to, you know, sorry to go all business speak, but to all the stakeholders, you know, so that we have something that works for our consumers, for the business, and for the planet as well. Back to Shirley's last slide. But I think this is, you know, one of the most exciting aspects to this is we have a transdisciplinary group that's come together that has this growth mindset that we want to learn. We understand that there may be some conflicts and things are going to be different than they normally are, but we're working to solve a problem, and we're not doing it simply to create the newest gadget. So we're really excited. As you can tell, we probably could have gone on for another hour here, but Shirley-Ann and I are both very excited to be part of this program and work with you in the future.
Absolutely. Sorry for the interruption.
Thank you both so much. That was a really great conversation, and we're happy to have you here today. I do want to really quickly just go over the application requirements and some tuition information for this program, and then we should hopefully have a couple minutes to take some questions if you have them. So we are still accepting applications for this program for fall 2020. Our next application deadline is June 30th. As with any other program, you're going to need to provide a copy of your undergraduate transcripts when you apply. ASU does give you the option to submit your unofficial transcripts through the online application. So that's what I recommend initially when you go to submit your application. If you're an international student and you are looking for a way to meet the English proficiency requirement, one thing to keep in mind, ASU is currently accepting the Duolingo English test for English proficiency. So that's something that you can look into if you are looking for an English proficiency test that you can take from home at your computer right now. The other things that you'll need to submit the initial application are an up-to-date copy of your resume and then a letter of intent. The letter of intent should be no more than 3 pages double-spaced, and it's an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to the faculty, discuss your experience and your skills that you have, and what you would like to accomplish through the MSI PD program. So as I said, our next application deadline is June 30th, and the link at the bottom of this slide will take you to our website where you have a button that you can use to start your application. This screen here will show you a breakdown of what the cost is for one semester in this program for an Arizona resident. So basically, students in this program will be taking 12 credit hours in the fall, 12 in spring, and then 6 credits in summer to finish out the program. And each semester you will be paying the standard ASU tuition and fees based on your residency status, plus a program fee of $4,000 each semester in the program. The link at the bottom of this page will take you to the tuition estimator tool if you are a non-resident or international student and would like to see how the base tuition rates compare based on your residency status. And we also do want to let everybody know that this is a STEM designated program. So if you are looking for outside scholarship opportunities, it's great to look at STEM designated scholarships for additional funding options. So we have just about a minute left. Let me just take a look and see if we have some questions that we can go to. Oops, sorry about that.
We have about a minute left. Rhett and Shirley-Ann, could you each just talk about the studio that you will be teaching? Because you're teaching different phases of the innovation process.
Yeah, certainly. So I'll be teaching, co-teaching the second studio course that you'll be taking. And in that particular studio, one of the things we're really focused on doing is reframing your problem or your opportunity. So when we talk about diverse perspectives, that's what our studio is going to be all about. So that will include things like some extended consumer research and some very kind of rough, low resolution prototyping through that particular studio. But we're really focused on trying to explore your problem as much as possible before we get to the solution.
Yeah, so I'm Studio One right before Rhett, and it's co-taught with Brent Siebold, who's actually in the attendee list right now. And in that course, you know, it's the introduction. It's the first course. We're coming together for the first time. We're getting to know each other. We're forming groups. We're starting to think about pain points or ideas that we've had. We're starting to think about problems, right? We're moving away from thinking about solutions. We're just thinking about the problems. We're doing research. We're trying to find secondary data, primary data. We're really just setting the groundwork for this entire program. And that's what we'll spend the first 7 weeks of this course doing.
Awesome.
Thank you both.
So with that, we are actually out of time for today. I want to just quickly thank everybody so much for being here with us today. Thank you to Rhett and Shirley-Ann for sharing your thoughts with us. We're so excited for everybody to join us for the program this fall, and we'll hope to hear from you all soon with any questions that you have. Here's my contact information if you want to reach out to me with any questions, and I'll look forward to speaking to you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.